calls for the Resident Evil series to be rebooted isn't anything new. The series is far from what it once was, and the concerns for the series to be restarted are only getting louder. Though the sales for each of the new game installments are high, increasing amounts of people are considering on speaking for a reboot for the overall health and longevity of the series. Here are 5 reasons that people can agree for a reboot with the Resident Evil franchise. Character changes. Resident Evil has had so much plot development over the years and internal stories that it's a bit hard to take. Not all of the said character progression can be a good thing. When Jill was completely redone, a few older fans were a bit shocked by the changes for the character, and some of the reception was not exactly good for these changes. However, it's not exactly Capcom's fault for the character development when these characters are the core of the gaming franchise. It can make sense to add a bit more information for the characters, but when the said content isn't exactly well received by all fans, it may not necessarily be a good thing. The Umbrella Corporation's role in the games. In Resident Evil 7, it was mentioned that the Umbrella Corporation isn't the main foe within the series anymore, which was a huge turn for the overall story of the game, as Umbrella was the original evil corporation in video games. For it to become a benevolent force for good, to clean up the mistakes that it had done in prior games, and to try and change its errors is another sign from things that it might be time for a reboot. Shift to first-person shooting. From Biohazard 4 and onwards, gamers have noticed many aspects of the game slowly shifting to a first-person style format of gameplay and experience. In Resident Evil 6, it was finally confirmed and made official by Capcom. Older fans preferred in many aspects the third-person method of games, and how it felt oddly personal and you yourself were experiencing the various circumstances of the games. Having the view in a first-person format can actually take away from the said experience, and even the overall excitement. When the Resident Evil games were first released decades ago, excitement overall for a Biohazard release was always high because the games would always do things that were new and exciting. Most of that unknown hype is now gone because everything has been done at least once, and in some cases more than once. Though gamers can be excited for an upcoming game's release, it's not exactly the news-stopping, game industry-shaking releases and revelations that it once was. This was the main reason why there was so much anticipation when 7 was released. That it was something completely new, different, a reboot. And people were excited for 7 when it was released. But then, as gamers experienced when they played the game, there were references to the prior games made within it, and the hopes for something different or new was dashed. Horror. The main complaint of fans can be that the game franchise no longer scares you, or frightens you, or leaps out at you with those iconic cutscene situations or aspects within the game. Circumstances of the game could take you by surprise, but that's different from being genuinely scared, frightened, horrified during the gameplay. When the Biohazard series was first released, it had monumental amounts of violence, gore, and tension, so much so it caused controversy at the time. Many consider Resident Evil 3 to be the last game to truly embody this aspect of the games. Biohazard 4 was a shifting to what was generally seen in 5 and confirmed in 6, that the Resident Evil series is now an action and adventure and science fiction-esque series that deals with futuristic threats, not just random zombie attacks bombarding a police headquarters anymore. It used to be as simple as a gun, shotgun, first aid medicine, and your natural wit to solve puzzles and escape with your life. Now it's mutagens, complex laser weapons, and trying to stop a virus-infused madman from destroying the world or rather enslaving it. With these 5 reasons, it just helps to understand that the Biohazard series has come a long way in terms of character development and overall story. But there will be a reboot. It's just when. and how many more new games or remakes of existing games or past games need to be made, and what will finally be the motive or forced reason or anything of the above for an entire franchise-wide reboot of the games.